Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are well. I hope you're doing good. It's so good to be back on here. So today's episode we are going to talk about moi and growing up in a poor background, I suppose. I want to talk to you guys about how growing up poor, the things I learned from growing up poor. It's not by any means fascinating or fantastic, but it certainly has set me up for life in the most amazing way that I don't think I would have learned any other way. So before we get into the video, please help me grow my channel. Help me make this a regular thing by clicking on the subscribe button, by liking this video, and most importantly, sharing the video as well. And also, please leave me a comment telling me what you'd like us to talk about in more episodes to come. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I start, it's important to just let you guys know a little bit about me and where I was born. I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in a number of places in Nigeria. So I was born in Abuja. That was before Abuja was like the way it is now. It was more Suleja than Abuja actually. And then I grew up there. I grew up until I was about the age of 8 or so. Then I moved to Enugu, and I was in Enugu. No, I moved to Oka, my bad, which is where my father is from, and then to Enugu, and then back to Oka. So those are like the places that I grew that really shaped me and made me. I also lived in Onitsha for a little while, but yeah, anyway. So my parents were not rich. The reason I really wanted to share this video was that my mother passed away earlier this year, and it's been such a moment for me where I've had to like take time to reflect, think about a lot of things, think about the kind of woman that she was. And she was such an amazing woman, and I'm sure a lot of people say this about their mom, but my mom was extra amazing. And the reason to me she was such a fantastic, phenomenal woman was because my mother couldn't read or write. Nah, couldn't. And yet I do not know a woman that I will tell you was wiser than my mother. My dad did. My dad was trained up to college level, and he worked as a civil servant in Nigeria before he passed many years ago. So we didn't grow up like, it wasn't like we were destitute. We weren't eating concrete for dinner. But we also by no means were we rich, like we had whatever we wanted. Nada. We had a lot of days where we went without. We had a lot of days where there was no food. There was a lot of hand-me-downs, situations in the family from my own siblings, because I was one of the youngest. Teary moments when things happen, and then there were joyous moments when little things happen as well. And like I said, after the passing of my mom earlier this year, reflecting upon my life now and where I come from, I realized that actually I have learned so much, and where I come from has shaped me into the woman that I am today. I think one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that it could have gone wrong, but I think in my case it went right. It went so right that I have nothing but gratitude to God for the kind of parents that I had. I mean, like I said, our home was a poor one, but it was full of love and companionship, especially from my parents and then from my siblings. So with that being said, as I reflected, I realized that there were some key things, in fact, many key things that growing up poor has taught me. And the reason I wanted to share them with you was so that if you find yourself in that position today as you're watching this video, be encouraged that you can change things, you can make things happen, things can change. Also, if you've come from there, like a sort of poor background, or even from a background that isn't poor, and you look at your life and you think, I'm not happy with it, you need to be grateful, as it were, that you are still here today and that you can still make change happen. Okay? Number one is to read. Yes, you heard that right, to read. Remember I told you guys in the introduction that my mother couldn't read or write. And I remember the day that I found out that my mom couldn't read. It broke me. As young as I was, I think I was about 8 years old. And I remember bringing, maybe 8 or 9, and I remember bringing my report card home and giving it to my mom and saying, look, I did so well. My dad was always like, he was such a stick or carrot kind of guy. So if you did so well, you had the carrot, and if you didn't do so well, it was like you're getting the stick. So I was always driven, and because I was like my father's pet, I always wanted to do right for my dad. I always wanted to be number one in my class. And, I was an intelligent child, actually. I really was. I liked books, so it helped. So I came home and I said, where's daddy? Dad's not here. Okay, here's mom. Gave her my report card to say, this is what my teacher wrote. I came first. I think I had a book as a gift, because every time you came first, you had something as a gift. I think I had a book and maybe something else. And I gave my mom my report card. And my mom was like, oh my goodness, you did well. You came first again. Wow, well done. And I looked up and I realized my mom was reading my report card upside down. And I couldn't get it at first. I was like, should I correct or not correct her? Maybe she can read upside down, because parents are magic, aren't they? And ignored it. And then when she finished, I said to her, see what the teacher said, read what she said. And she said, wow, what did she say? And she's looking at it, what did she say? Where? She's looking up and down. What did she? And that was when I realized, oh my God, my mom cannot read. So I took the report card from her, turned it upside down, the right way around, and showed it to her and said, the teacher said that next year you could be in the debate class. That was a big deal, because obviously being in a small class, you're watching people in the bigger class going for debates. When they talk, they sound so intelligent. And I wanted to do that so bad. And finally I got a chance, and my mother couldn't appreciate it. If you've ever had that experience, you would know how shattering that was. I just, wow. Like when you're young, you look at your parents like the people people talk about God and no God. As a young child, you don't know any of that. As a young child, your God are your parents, because they're the ones who feed you, they're the ones who support you, who clean you, who look after you. They are your God. End of story. So when you realize that your God is not as perfect as you thought they were, it does do something to you. It really does. And I remember I spoke to my dad about it maybe 2 days later or so, because my dad wasn't at home. That's why he had traveled for work. And when he came back, I gave him my report card. He was very proud. You can see the difference in it. He read it all from beginning to end. And then, said something like, how did you score 98 in mathematics? Couldn't you get it 100%? So that's how you know this man is on point. You don't have to tell him nothing. He can read it for himself. But mom couldn't do that. So when we finished, I said, Dad, mom couldn't read. It's like, yeah, not everybody could read. Where your mom came from, your mom had a bad experience growing up. You should be grateful that she's a very loving mom and this and that, said all those things, which is true. And said to me, and I never forget this, is like, but what you can do is read for yourself and for your mother. That's what you can do. I'm like, how do you do that? It's like, read and read again, read a lot. That's what you can do for your mom. So every time she sees you, she can tell people, even if I can't read, my child can. And I took it upon myself like, oh, is that what I have to do? Great, then let's do that. So I started reading. And then with reading came a whole new world. So I read, and even though I had never traveled beyond the places that I named, I knew there was a bigger world out there. It existed. I've not seen it. I've not lived in it. I've not been in it, but I know it existed. And I think the biggest thing that can happen for any child is knowing that an adventure exists. Living it is a different issue altogether. But if you don't know it, how can you even begin to dream of living that life? You need to know it first to then think about living the life. So reading opened up a whole world for me. I read every and anything that I could lay my hands on. It didn't matter. As a child, what did I know? Fiction, non-fiction, what do I know? I like stories. So I would read and read and read and read and read. And there were all these things I read about other children in other parts of the world, and how they did what they did and how they lived. And I read about children in Nigeria, and I read stories about Nigeria and other African stories. And it was just an eye-opener. I wanted to go to Ghana to meet the spider. I didn't realize it was like a myth. The same way in Nigeria we have the myth about the leopard, the tortoise. I just wanted to go there and meet them. I wanted to go to, I think it was Uganda or wherever, or Zimbabwe. I don't know, to meet the zebras. It opened your eyes to the world that you've never seen a zebra before, but you knew a zebra existed. Reading. And the reading set me up for a whole lot of things, and the things that I do today. It did set me up. I mean, okay, maybe the fact that I enjoyed it helped, but I know that if we weren't poor, maybe I might have had other experiences, that would have taken that space of reading, because maybe dad or mom would have said, get in the car, or let's get in the plane and travel and fly out, or let's go do this and that other rich people did. But we didn't have any of that, and I had loads of time on my hands. So I needed to find another avenue to, entertain myself, as it were, and reading was the thing for me. So I suppose that's what it did for me. It pushed me into reading. Find a way to entertain yourself. I picked reading. I stuck to reading, and it really has opened up a whole world for me. Number two of what growing up poor has taught me, it's taught me to appreciate the little things. Yes, appreciating little things. And by this, I mean, like, you need to learn, people practice the art of gratefulness. I think I leave the art of gratefulness. I submerge, I beg your pardon, myself in the art of gratefulness. And this is because growing up poor, we didn't have much, obviously. And so, in Nigeria, I'm sure Nigerians will testify to this. Sundays are like rice and stew day. On Sundays, you go to church in your Sunday best that when you come home, mom takes it from you. It's washed all over again, hung in the sun, it dries, they iron it, fold it nicely, and put it back in the trunk. It's not even a suitcase, it's a trunk. And waiting until the next Sunday. So you've been to church, you've done your service, you've shown off in your pretty, nice Sunday best dress, you come back, and then you're expecting rice and stew. If you are one of the rich ones, maybe some chicken. If you're not, then tomato stew and rice. You'll still be jumping up and down because, like, wow, we're eating rice and stew. So it's a thing. For some reason, maybe not so much so now anymore. I don't know, is that true though? Because I went somewhere recently and actually it was like a Sunday and it's rice and stew Sunday, So I think it is, and I like it. I like that that's our culture. I like it. It may not be a big deal, but I like it, But anyways, seeing as Sundays are for rice and stew, we don't always have the money for rice and stew. But mom would make, say, rice, and she would make stew that doesn't have a lot in it. It's literally tomatoes, and if you've got money for oil, even better. But anyway, and she would give us little bits. So what she would do, what we'll have more of, would be either cassava or yam. So she'll make like yam porridge, for instance. I think that was cheaper, and would put yam in like our plates, the porridge in our plates, and then put a little bit of rice and some stew. So it was like the yam porridge was the main, and then the rice and stew was the dessert that you had after the yam porridge. And it was so exciting. It just like we're there, me and my siblings are talking about, oh my god, we're gonna have rice today, mom made stew, we're gonna eat rice and stew, and mom will tell you, go wash the plates, go get this, go get that. You're rushing to do it because you're in a good mood, you're about to have rice and stew. It didn't matter if it was 2 spoons, you're about to have rice and stew. That's all that matters. And if you go to school the next day and your friends are talking about they ate rice and stew and chicken, don't matter. You ate your own rice and stew as well, even if it's just 2 spoons. You don't need to tell anybody it was 2 spoons. But listen, the point is that you began to appreciate every little thing that you got. So, as at that time when we were growing up, you had people who would, make, I don't know, cake. Cake is not an everyday thing at that time in Nigeria. It was a big deal. We didn't care that we didn't have cake. We cared that our mom went to the market and she came back and she bought us all manner of fruits. People will go to the market and come back and get as a present for their kids, sweets, maybe Coca-Cola, all those things. My mom will go to the market, come back and get us fruits. And you're excited by it. Like you've got some, oh my gosh, you got us fruits. Oh my God, we're eating mango today. Oh my God, because those things are, if you think about it, for somebody who doesn't have money to feed their children, those are frivolities. Main thing would be use that money and buy proper meals, proper food. So every little thing that mom did to give us that little bit extra was so beautiful. It was absolutely lovely. I also remember when my mom would buy clothes and she would split them, Christmas outfits. And she would be like, okay, you two will have new Christmas outfits this year, you two won't. So that next year we'll swap. And these ones that had it won't have it. These ones that didn't would, So if you think about all those things, it just made you appreciate every opportunity. When it was my turn to get a new Christmas outfit, it was like my mom was taking me to, I don't know, that like the biggest fairy show you've ever seen as a child, because wow, I'm gonna get a new Christmas outfit. And you then had to learn to be grateful for everything you were given. You had to be grateful because every time that you got something, you always remember there were people in a more dire situation than you are. And I think I've grown with that. I've grown with it. That now I don't take anything for granted. I think that's what it is. Yes, my number 2 is not to take anything, no matter how little, for granted. So, it's very easy to think, well, I can do 5 5-course meals every single day. But why should I? Why do I need to? It's not necessary. Every meal I get, I bless and I give thanks, because I know that for everyone I eat, there's somebody somewhere in the world who isn't having a meal. Everything I do, every outfit I wear, every job opportunity I get, I'm so grateful, because I know there's somewhere in this world where somebody's looking for the same. Somebody would give one hand for that opportunity. So growing up poor has made me realize that actually everything you get is a gift. Even the gift that you give yourself. If you're able to buy flowers for yourself and send it to you, that's brilliant. But it is still a gift that you should be thankful for, because not many people can send themselves flowers. So number 3 of what growing up poor has taught me is it has taught me how to be thick-skinned. Oh yeah. How to be so thick-skinned that you are like a duck with water being poured and it's just running off your back. Yes. Listen, you cannot grow up in the kind of place that I grew up in and be a sissy. That's the word. You can't. And when I say thick-skinned, I don't. Okay, forget about adulthood. Let's go back to childhood, childrenhood, littlehood, kiddyhood, basically. So you're growing up, you're in a neighborhood where there are other kids more or less like yourselves. It's not like it's a rich place. And if you're the child of the rich man or rich family, people are more scared of you because they don't want to touch you. They don't want to say anything that will hurt you, because if you go home crying, there's a fear that your father or your mother will come and arrest my father, and my mother or my own family will be in trouble, because money rules. It's as simple as that. Money rules. So if you're one of the rich people, you're actually exempt from being picked on, being bullied, being, hassled. Yes. So it's the poor ones like myself that were always being picked upon. But guess what? You get picked upon outside, or you get beaten up outside, and you come home and you come and tell my father that somebody beat you. Girl, you're waiting for another smack. That's what you're wanting. Because it'd be like, so the person that beat you, did they have 2 or 3 heads or 4 legs? Which one? You're like, no, it's only the same. But then why didn't you beat them back? And like, it may sound cruel and crude in today's world, but really that was a way to toughen you up. You had to learn to speak your mind. You had to learn to stand up for yourself. My dad would be like, I can't be there all the time to fight your battles for you. You're going to have to learn to tell people to leave you alone. You're going to have to learn to stand up for yourself, including you're going to have to learn to go to people's parents and go report them and say, I was minding my business. He or she beat me. You have to. And so from childhood, or from kiddyhood, as I like to say, you had to learn how to develop a tough skin. You had to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. And you also had to learn to navigate the waters of, growing up. You can't pick a fight with everything. It's not every battle that you must fight, Some people will say things to you. Sometimes you cut them evil eye and keep walking. I'm sure most parents will say, don't start the fight, but if they start, don't run away. You can't afford to be the victim all the time. Otherwise, it's always on you. People will always dump it on you. So I couldn't afford to be that victim all the time. I had to grow a tough skin. I've learned that people can say bad things to you. People can pick on you. Listen, as a model, I have come across a lot of hurtful, negative comments, not said behind me, said to my face. I've been to shows before where they tell me, what kind of hair is this? What is that? As a matter of fact, I have had a model scout tell me, you're going to have to drop, what is Ngozi? What's that? You need to drop that name. Just go with Gail. Even Gail is even hard to say. I don't know. I don't understand what that is. I've been told I'm fat. I've been told that my hips are too wide. They can't fit me. That I'm not the regular shape person. I've been told a whole many things. And trust me, you can go and check out the work that I've done. Check out my pictures. You'll be like, what are you talking about? Exactly. But people have said this. People have said to me, I can't work with your hair. I don't know how to work with your hair. A lot of makeup artists will tell me, I don't know how to work with your skin tone. It's not even. One side is darker than the other. I've had it all. I really have. And if I let those things, what am I even talking about? TV presenting. I've been for a lot of casting as a TV presenter. I'm told, you have an accent. We don't know where to place you. The world will not understand you. What is that supposed to mean? But you can understand me enough to tell me, and when I tell you what I want to tell you, if I curse you out, you can understand that well enough. But when it comes to giving me a job as a TV presenter, you can't understand my accent. Girl, if I went with that and said, oh my God, they said my accent was so bad, and then they said my skin was so bad, I wouldn't be anywhere. I had to develop a tough skin and be like, you know what? That's you. It's on you. You can't understand my accent. That's your problem. My skin is this way, that way. That's your problem. There are billions of people on earth. Somewhere along the way, I'm bound to resonate with some people, some things, some niche. I'll just keep fighting. So you need to know that no matter where you find yourself, you can choose to be two things. You can choose to fight back, or you can choose to lay back and become a victim. And honey, you don't want to be in the second category, because when people think they can dump on you, they will continue to do so. And it takes just one time, guys, one time, where you speak up for yourself, where you say, no, I don't want this. And people stop. It's amazing. Bullies are the most scary people ever. A bully can be a bully forever. And the moment you say, oi, back the hell off and don't talk to me like that, you find them, they won't come back at you again. Because bullies obviously don't want to look weak. And if you're strong, they will look weak. So you just need to be strong the one time. Next thing you know, they'll be like, yeah, he's my mate, in it. We're like best friends. We ain't best friends. I'm just, I have a louder voice than yours. That's why. But we're not best friends. So for me, I just know that I am grateful for these experiences, but I am very grateful for this particular third point that I just made, being thick-skinned. I mean, come on, guys. Even the videos that we do on YouTube, people can go in there, unlike it, give you negative comments. Is it going to stop you? Has it stopped you? I hope it hasn't. If it did, go up, pick up your bag and keep pushing forward. Don't let any of those things stop you, because at the end of the day, you can only be nobody else but yourself. And the way to do that is to be tough. All right, guys, lastly, there's a lot of things I could tell you guys about what growing up poor has done for me. Just know that it has made me who I am today. And maybe in the future, if you guys want, please then drop a comment and tell me you'd like to hear more, because I would happily share more with you. But it's not meant for this video to be like a lecture. I'll just sharing, thoughts with you, especially as I heal from the death of my mom. So I suppose lastly, I just want to say that growing up poor taught me to never give up. Never give up. You can't afford to give up when you come from a place where you know that there is better and you want to be better. And you can't think, oh, I want to be better, but not do anything about it. See, it doesn't matter how far the journey is. What matters is that you take the first step. Just start walking towards it. And it may not always work out the way you want it to. And that's where I'm talking, what I'm talking about. That's where the point is hammered home. Don't give up just because it didn't work out the way you expected. And also, don't forget that, as you grow up or as you live in a particular community, you could find yourself surrounded by the same kind of people. So when you think about it, it's like, well, who do I go to ask for advice when my neighbor is just the same way as I am? Where do you go? Go back into your reading. Read. Ask questions. Talk to people. Like, do you know what? Walk around your town. You'll be amazed how many people don't even know their towns very well, unless you take a car from one place to the other. Even in this London, I go on such long walks. I discover places. I'm like, I've lived in this country for a decade and more, and I still don't know these places exist. Research, move yourself. But most importantly, whatever you do, don't give up. It may not work out the way you wanted the first time, the second, the third, the fourth, the 10th time. Don't give up. Keep pushing, because one day, I promise you, you will get your breakthrough. Don't give up, because I haven't given up. I am still working towards my goals, towards my dream, towards the kind of life I want to have eventually. But I cannot give up because things haven't worked out the first, second, third, 10 years that I've been doing it. One of these days it is going to work out, and that's why I keep pushing. So guys, I'm going to end it here. Like I said, if you want to know more, just drop me a comment and tell me what you've enjoyed, what you'd like me to talk about some more, and I'll be happy to do so. But having said that, can you guys please share with me, if you don't mind, what growing up has taught you? You certainly don't have to be poor. Please, I want to know what growing up rich has taught you, because honey, guess what? I may actually be yearning for the life you have right now. So yes, drop me a comment and let me know. And guys, like I said, please don't forget to click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and click on the share button, and share my videos and support me by always commenting down below. Thank you, guys.